in your mind, any shot that Steph Curry is about to be traded?
No, no, Steph Curry is not being traded. I don't know if I have to elaborate on that, but yeah, no, Steph Curry's not going anywhere.
Why?
As
Why? I mean, you're laughing, but like, hey, this is we know where everybody is now. Everybody's using trade machines. Everybody's like figuring out wild ways to change the league. So why are you so confident that Steph is going to remain?
I mean, Steph Curry represents everything that the Warriors are about. He is the Warriors organization. Even if you don't want him, I mean, you can go from anywhere from what he means to the organization historically, what he means currently, or even what he means to the business side. He is the athlete that represents the NBA across the world for many different countries. He's the number one jersey seller. He represents everything that is good about the locker room behind the scenes. He set the tone and the culture there for many years, and he's still playing at a level that's so good that he was just voted a starter in the All-Star game. So there's just no world in which the Warriors would consider trading Steph.
Let a girl who lives in Charlotte dream about Steph potentially coming to the Hornets. But sticking with the Golden State Warriors, Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy had an absolute bar the other day when he said, in order to fulfill a trade demand, there has to be some demand for you, answering a question about Jonathan Kuminga. So there's been a lot of speculation about, will Jonathan Kuminga get dealt at the trade deadline? Then the Jimmy Butler injury happens. So with all of that in mind, what will the Warriors actually do at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I know that comment went around, and I get it. You know, you don't usually hear from a GM that's so honest out there, but it's been such a weird saga with Jonathan Kuminga, and usually things aren't as public as they are too. Like his agent speaking to the media and tweeting out, and it's just he made his media tour during the offseason. It's been such an odd saga. With Jonathan Kuminga. So another moment, another quote didn't surprise me. So for Kuminga, I don't think the calculus has changed much over there in Golden State. I know he's going to be playing maybe a little bit more. Obviously, he did. He got into the rotation with Jimmy Butler out the other day. But at the end of the day, the two sides aren't aligned. They really aren't. I know people point directly to Steve Kerr, but I think it's more than that. I think at the end of the day, the way Kuminga plays, his style, the way he thinks the player he is versus what the Warriors need of him and how the Warriors play, it's just not a fit. There's been so many, you know, usually a player doesn't get 5 years down the road and he still has quote unquote potential before you say, hey, like we need to make a divorce, we need to separate here and each go our separate ways. It's rare that something goes this long. And so at this point, I think they all know the writing's on the wall. They need a separation. They will try to get it done before the trade deadline. That's the goal, absolutely. But as Mike Dunleavy very honestly said, there needs to be demand. And I do know there are teams that want him, but that doesn't mean that they're saying, hey, I want to give over these assets or these players that you crave because we want him. No, there's teams that are interested in him that would definitely take him. It's just a matter of what type of demand is there that make it worth it for the Warriors to actually just give it away. Because at the end of the day, they don't have many contracts to move. Let's say they aren't moving Steph Curry. Just, you know, let's say I ended that one right there. They don't want to Jimmy Butler's contract right there. Draymond Green also, they don't want to move his contract. The next contract that makes it movable is Jonathan Kuminga. So they're not just going to give away if they think they can get something bigger in the offseason. Because also remember, Jonathan Kuminga going into the offseason, there's a team option on his contract. So it's about $24 million. So at the end of the day, the Warriors do have a lot of flexibility and optionality with him that make it wiser to just do the right thing rather than just getting off of him.
All right, so let's stick in the division and talk a little bit of Lakers. Obviously, big piece yesterday, explosive. Baxter Holmes wrote on the ownership and some of the controversy, but that included some friction between LeBron and Jeanie Buss, the governor of the team. So when you look at all of these, do you see writing on the wall that there's maybe a break coming between the Lakers and LeBron?
Yeah, I read what you guys did too, and it obviously is some explosive stuff in there. And you know, there's been murmurs behind the scenes for a long time of some issues behind the scenes, obviously with the family. We've seen the documentaries about that, and obviously they fired the Buss brothers, and that was just a lot about just issues behind the scenes, just in the front office as well. I know they made it about family dynamics, but there also is just there is just not the right chemistry happening in the front office for the scouting department. So when it comes down to this, when it comes down to LeBron, I don't think about, obviously there's some, again, as I said, explosive information in that article. But for me, it comes down to just basketball sense when they deal with LeBron. And I don't think emotions are going to get in the way. I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a LeBron decision about whether or not he wants to be part of the Los Angeles Lakers. And so it's just one of those, does LeBron feel like there's somewhere else that he can be that's good for his legacy and for winning, for his life? Remember, his son plays with him on the Lakers, and obviously he lives in LA and his whole life is built out there. Or does he feel like somewhere else could be a place that he could just really be the player he wants to end his career? Now, you have to keep in mind that trading him is not easy, especially because of his contract. And I know it's the sexy thing to kind of put him back to Cleveland or all these places, but it's almost impossible to get him there during the season because of the second apron that the Cleveland Cavaliers are in and all the different apron things that they would have to deal with to get him somewhere that he wants to be. I know there's rumors in the past about LeBron to Golden State. Again, I don't know if that's something that could possibly happen during the season. To me, he's a free agent at the end of this year. I would guess he plays out the rest of this year and then decides. But hey, you also, no one knows if LeBron's playing another season after this year. So there's a lot left to be seen there. But I don't know if the Jeanie LeBron part of it is something that's going to lead to any separation.
Put yourself in the shoes of a Lakers fan for a moment. LeBron's future question mark, whether it's in LA or if it's not in LA. We just read the article about the Buss family dynamic and maybe lack thereof at certain point in time. If you're a Lakers fan, how do you feel about the organization's future?
Well, if I was going back 1 year ago, almost 1 year ago to the day, I think February 2nd last year, I would be a little concerned about where this is going. They had assets, but they had an aging LeBron, a hurt AD, etc. Then Luka gets traded to their team. And honestly, because of that, if I'm a Lakers fan, I feel good no matter what, because there are a few players in this league that can just win you a championship just by being on the team, and Luka Doncic is one of those guys. And right now, the future is bright. He's young. He's under contract. And to me, that's enough to be confident for the future. Now, my concerns would be team building and making sure that the right pieces are in place and the processes are in place to get the right pieces around Luka to make that happen. But from everything I'm hearing with Mark Walter buying the team, they're really, for the lack of a better way of saying this, the Dodgerification of the team. The Dodgers executives are coming in and trying to audit the team and try to figure out what can make this team function like a high-level functioning organization, like it should be, the Los Angeles Lakers. And so they're going to come in and try to bring this team into the future and put the right pieces in place and the processes in place to make this a team like the Dodgers that have just taken over baseball. And that's where, if I'm a fan, I am very excited about the future of this team. Maybe it's not this season. Maybe they aren't going to win a championship this season. But moving forward, I would say this team's going to do a lot of the right things because of who's in charge. And also, this team going into the offseason has an opportunity to really reset most of their team. Like most of their team are free agents. They have a big decision coming up on Austin Reeves. But otherwise, there's a reset coming for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think that should excite Lakers fans.
So as somebody that covers the league and somebody that's plugged into everything, when you are thinking about the trade deadline a couple of weeks from now, who are you constantly checking your phone to see, oh my God, this guy's going to get moved? Who do you have on your radar?
I still think Anthony Davis is going to get moved, honestly. I think there's enough interest out there. I think the fact that he is not going to be lost for the season with his recent injury, I think Dallas, at the end of the day, would like to just move on and be done with this, their own saga, which is, obviously shorter than the Kuminga one, and a lot bigger of a deal. Like this is a player that when healthy is one of the better players in the league, but when healthy is the big issue. And I think Anthony Davis is somebody that can definitely help a team down the stretch. I think with, a lot of teams are, and a lot of rumors go about Ja Morant and Trae Young obviously got moved, and people look at point guards. But very rarely does a team who's contending trade for a lead guard like that at the deadline because they have to redo their entire offense and they have to redo everything because you really are orbit around the point guard. In this case, Anthony Davis, you can actually plug into a team when healthy and just actually probably be more seamless. Now, yes, he is, you have to give him the ball, you have to do these things, but he's also a lob threat, he's a defensive beast, all these things when he's healthy. So I do think you can plug and play and put him in there and just be better immediately. And I think there are teams, especially in the East, that would look at him and say, hey, this is our chance to kind of make a little bit of noise. This is our chance to get somebody like him. And also keep in mind, he wants a contract extension. So maybe there's a team that in the free agency, Anthony Davis would not consider going to. But right now, if you trade for him and give him that max deal, he's all in. And so I do think he is somebody that at the end of the day, I would lean more towards him being moved than not being moved.
So Fitz will ask you about individual players. I'll ask you about teams. Is there a specific team or teams that you expect or in your opinion think should be active at the trade deadline?
It's a really good question. I think at the end of the day, the question for some teams are like, you have these great building blocks. You're young and you're explosive. And I'm going to give an example of the Detroit Pistons. They have the assets to make a trade. They are playing incredible basketball. Do you mess with it or do you actually make a move? And I think it does depend on who's available, et cetera. But, they're a team that I would watch as just they can go for something. They could, if they wanted to, go for Anthony Davis. They could go for Michael Porter Jr. I think MPJ actually would fit them well because they actually need more shooting. And at the end of the day, when you get into the playoffs, shooting really, really does matter. And so teams like that are the ones that are the biggest question marks for me. Could they just swing big and go for it? The Warriors were the team that I was going to say, no matter what, we're going to make some moves because they felt like they were on the precipice of being a championship contender. That has changed dramatically. Could they still make some small moves? For sure. But really, at the end of the day, you kind of look around and it's more about teams offloading. There is some discontent with how things are going this season so far in Cleveland. And could they make a move? Sure. Is it harder? Yes, because they're in the second apron. But I would also then look at the teams jockeying in the West and say there are some teams that just they know they're below the Oklahoma City Thunder. They know they're below the Denver Nuggets when they're healthy. And so can they make a move to actually kind of jumpstart their season a little bit more? That's possible as well. But there's a chance this one's not full of fireworks. Obviously we saw the craziest trade in NBA history with Luka last year, so it's hard to beat that one. But yeah, it may not be these massive trades that people assume. At the end of the day, the truth is it is so much easier to make trades in the offseason. It just is, especially with this new apron system. I know that's not the most fun thing and exciting thing to say, but it's just the truth.
Grant, we got to get you out of here. I know that. 30 seconds or less. Giannis, still a buck after the trade deadline?
Yes. I'd be shocked if the Milwaukee Bucks and everything fell apart so much that they moved Giannis before the deadline. Giannis is just he represents everything to that organization. Until Giannis comes to them and says, you better move me right now, they aren't moving him. They're going to hold on as long as possible. And at the end of the day, it also is just it would be smart to wait to the offseason because there'd be way more teams that could get involved. And I'd be absolutely shocked. But again, I'm going to reference this one more time. When I woke up to the news that Luka Doncic got traded last year, I checked 18 times to make sure that wasn't fake news. I'm still, so like anything that happened in the NBA, and that's the exciting part. But my goodness, that one still, I'm still like, was that real? Did that actually happen? But yeah, by the way, it happened.
We were all worried. We were getting scammed on that one. Follow him on Twitter, X. He is real, at Grant Liffmann. Grant, we really appreciate your expertise. Thanks for hanging out with us, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Grant.
Great stuff from Grant. And look, Caroline, it speaks to like this trade deadline, which is going to happen in about a week and a half. And the funny thing is, everybody wants there to be tremendous drama because we got Luka last year. I don't know, maybe there will be, but I just think that there's a real chance that we're sitting here on February 6th after the trade deadline saying, it's fine. It just feels like the summer is going to be much more wild than the next week and a half is to me.
Yeah, never say never, because to Grant's point, nobody expected that Luka news. But I do wonder what kind of a cautionary tale that may be to general managers across the association of, look, whenever you trade away the heart and soul of an organization, your fan base will riot, and it might cost you your job. Now, Steph and LeBron and Giannis might be a little bit different because Luka was traded in his prime, and Giannis and Steph and LeBron are on the closer to or on the other side of it, but still cornerstones of their respective organizations.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that there's a lot of elements of this, and the fan voice is more powerful, right or wrong, than it's ever been before.